optimism. You can do it! Unleash the power within! You're wonderful, you're splendid, you're amazing, love yourself, you're so wonderful, you're so lovely, I'm so excited that you're taking this course with me. Oh, we're all wonderful, are we not? Shut up, right? Here in Scotland, we don't buy into this optimism nonsense. We're a really miserable breed. No, I'm not saying, that's a big generalisation to make. But optimism is kind of this tendency to underestimate or undermine difficulty or potential risk. All right? You're wonderful, you're splendid. Hang about. No. You've got a lot of hard work to do. I'm completely undermining your journey here. All right? No one's wonderful. No one's splendid. No one's super excited to spend time with you. It's all nonsense. It's like that kind of false, really dirty optimism that comes out of the guru's mouths and the motivational speaker's mouths, and you can do it, and we love you, and you're great, and you're fantastic, with no context or definition around this. All right? Isn't helpful at all. It's kind of like, sometimes as individuals, right, we can be as optimistic as we want. You know, I'm just going to commit to this path. I'm just going to create this or build this business. I know that everything's going to work out. I just know, I have a feeling it's all just going to work out. Nah, you do not want to trust your feelings. Why? Feelings, emotions are the most inconsistent part of us. Right? How is this true? Think about it. Happiness, sadness, angst, depression, confidence, insecurity. Emotions are like this roller coaster, up and down like a yo-yo, right? What's optimism? Optimism is just clinging on to this hope or this dream or this expectation that everything's just going to somehow work out magically and mystically without us even necessarily having all the answers. You know what I'm optimistic about? I'm optimistic that if I follow a carefully considered plan, then my chances of success are greater than pursuing a path towards an outcome with no carefully defined plan. All right, that's kind of it. Those who fail to plan to fail. I think Brian Tracy once said that. So optimism, is this healthy? No, it's not. We make well-informed decisions based upon the plans that we develop for our futures. All right, if you want to be the next world leader, or you want to be a pop star or a movie star, what's your plan? All right, optimism, yes, I'm going to get picked someday. How? What are you doing about this? Oh, but I just want to get picked by Mr. Right or by Mrs. Right. I'm just optimistic that the right person's going to come along and choose me someday. You might be waiting a very long time. All right, snap out of optimism and work hard. All right, develop yourself. Then we have arrogance. Come on, I know that you know what arrogance is. It's self-centeredness, isn't it? I'm all right, I'm fine. I've got it all together. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I'm the guru. I can fix you. I can heal you. I'm the best teacher in the world. Don't listen to any other teachers because they don't know what they're talking about. Just listen to me because I read a textbook somewhere. My process is the best process in the whole world. Just unleash your power within and all will be well with your life. If you want the real gold dust and the real nuggets, though, you'll only get them if you cross my palm with a little bit more silver. Right? This kind of makes up much of the self-help world, doesn't it? Yes, it does. So, arrogance, self-centeredness with a common disregard for situations or other people. All right, I'm all right, and I don't really care who else isn't all right, as long as I'm all right. It's not confidence, it's based upon insecurity, control, manipulation. Some people who fall in this basket tend to be labelled as narcissists, by the way. And then we've got hubris. Hubris is an interesting one. A persistent arrogance that becomes entrenched in a culture or a social group. Now, okay, listen, I'm going to give an example here, right, which isn't a generalisation. I'm not generalising any specific people group here. So, when I was in the military, when I was in the army, there was this hubris that accompanied military culture. And this was that, going through our basic training, it was suggested that, being a soldier is kind of like being part of a superior human race. It's kind of like, you're a soldier. These civilians, they don't get what life's all about. We have this kind of secret to life. It's kind of like we're part of this greater species. Hubris. All right, it's this kind of like entrenched, persistent arrogance that accompanies a group. How about religion? Now, I met my wife, Karen, believe it or not, in the Church of Scotland, all right, or this kind of church group in Edinburgh. Now, I'd moved to Edinburgh after having returned from spending many years overseas. I didn't have any friends. And what I discovered was Scotland's a pretty closed culture. I was going through this process of personal growth at the time, and I'd also started studying theology. Why? Because, some of it was a little bit weird, but some of it was also quite interesting. Well, I found it interesting anyway. So I ended up meeting my wife, and what I found in this culture, hubris. All right, honestly, every single person in this organisation, they had the right beliefs, they were worshipping the right God. Every single one of them, like, honestly, I'd never been in a room with so many leaders. It's not like any of them were like leading anyone or anything, or even leading their own lives, but they all carried leadership titles and leadership badges. And the arrogance, my goodness, didn't matter what came out of my mouth. All right, I was wrong, they were right. It's kind of like, I'm batting for the wrong team, they're batting for the right team. They've chosen the right team. In the same way that for all these years earlier, I'd chosen the right team in the military, which is significantly better than the civilian team. It's hubris. It's the false confidence that accompanies being part of a social group. It's just this ingrained arrogance. That's all. Watch out for it. You'll find this in crime gangs. You'll find this in prisons especially. You'll find it sometimes in ladies groups. You'll find it in LGBTQ. You'll find it in all religions. You'll find it in political parties. Why? Right? You'll never speak to a person who subscribes to a certain political perspective who's batting for the wrong team. Right? Everyone's perspective is right. Right? Of course it is. Right? It's just hubris. Then you've got genuineness. Right? Genuineness. And this is kind of the money shot. Right? This is kind of where we're at. Genuineness, an expression of maturity that stems from being at peace with the self. And that's that. All right? Genuineness, an expression of maturity that stems from being at peace with the self. Think about it. If you are 100% at peace with yourself, i.e., you've just gotten over the fact that you're imperfect, you've gotten over the fact that you've got some growing up and some maturing to do, like every single one of us, if you make peace with this and just accept this, and you no longer need to be batting for the right team, you can just start being genuine instead. Come on, what happens when we feel the need to be approved of by a certain group, right? What happens in gang culture, right? What happens in different kind of political parties or different religious groups? You get a thing called cultural norms come into existence, where you have behaviours, trends, attitudes just become ingrained in a culture, right? One of the experiences I had of this, I think, having returned back to Scotland after having spent so many years overseas, I think it was on the night before I got married to my wife. We were having a joint hen-do stroke stag party. We just went for a meal at a local restaurant. And I was kind of sitting out the back. I think I was maybe sipping on a Budweiser or something like that. And there was a bunch of yokels all sat there. And they said, "Where are you frae?" And in Scotland, what that means is, "Excuse me, sir, where exactly are you from? What geographical location were you born in?" And I said, "Well, I was born in Dundee, but I've kind of moved around the world, spent a decade in the military, blah, blah, blah." And the response was, "So you're not one of us then?" And, one of them had like a few rotten teeth, one yellow stained fingers, and they were all literally quite intoxicated with alcohol. And I said, "No, you're right, my good people. I am most certainly not one of you." And it was the first time in my life that I realised, I've actually got this genuine thing. I don't need to be accepted or be, or kind of fit in with a group. I'm okay standing alone on my own 2 feet, just being me. That's what genuineness looks like, an expression of maturity that stems from just being at peace with yourself. If you want to know whether you're at peace with yourself or not, all right, just consider, take a little bit of time to ponder over and think about how much of an effort you make to prove yourself to other people. Do you compromise your own integrity or act or behave in a certain way to fit in with a certain peer group or with a certain social group or in your career or in some sort of organization? Do you try to be someone that you're not to impress other people? If so, my friend, you're compromising your own integrity, you're compromising your own genuineness. Is there a technique that you can practice to be genuine? Yeah, there is. It's just this. Stop being a phony. Stop being false. Stop being deceitful. Stop trying to manipulate people into trying to think that you're someone that you're not. I mean, think about it. I want to offer you another little gold nugget here before we kind of bring this video to a close. It's this. If you're committed to the process of putting on this facade or kind of engaging in hubris, all right, trying to be someone that you're not, even if other people do buy into you and accept you, they're not accepting you for who you are. They're accepting the facade and the false show that you're putting on, which means that you're no closer to getting what you actually want, which is essentially being unconditionally accepted by people. Listen, when I commit to the process of being genuine, so I'm being real here now, I am taking the greatest risk that I could possibly take. Because when someone says, Kane Ramsey, I don't like you, you're offensive, you're opinionated, blah, 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 then someone is essentially completely rejecting me being real. Me just being me. All right? But listen, that's okay from my perspective, because I would far rather be rejected by those who don't want anything to do with me than those who potentially could want something to do with me, which means that as I am being real, I draw a crowd and I attract those who are also committed to this path and this process of growing up and also being genuine. Genuine people connecting with genuine people makes for some significantly meaningful connecting.